Welcome back. Well, if you need to sell a house, but you owe more than it's worth, a short sale may help you get out of that trouble. So joining us now to explain more about the short sale process is Missy Buttrum from HomeWire Realty and Sell 911. Missy has 9 years of real estate experience. She is an expert in buying, selling, and flipping houses. So good to see you again, Missy.
Good morning. How's it going?
I'm doing great. So good to see you. Okay, so a lot of people are going to say, all right, if it's worth more or I owe more than it's worth. I
Yeah.
think about that happening with a car, but explain what a short sale is to start.
Right. So a lot of people, you hear them say they're underwater. That's exactly it. So we're going to go market. Let's say we're going to go market a home for easy example, $100,000 is the fair market value. We want to list that. You find out from your seller, well, I owe 120,000. So that's considered a short because the bank will not get paid off their full amount if we sold it for $100,000. Misconception is that not everybody can just do what's called a short sale.
Okay, so what do you do? How do you qualify then if that's what you need to do to be able to do a short sale?
Right. So you have to have the big thing is having a hardship. That could be a divorce, a death, illness. Maybe someone lost their job during, this pandemic. A lot of people have been furloughed. They have less income than they did before. Something like that. It has to be some sort of established hardship to show the bank.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I would think a lot of people listening today are thinking, yeah, it's a pandemic. I'm having hardships. So, what is the process then for someone to start the short sale process?
So first of all, you're going to contact a realtor like myself that deals with short sales. Make sure someone has it. Make sure they have their experience with them because it is quite the process for the seller side. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of communication. People really need to stay on top of the whole process. So first, they're going to, talk to the realtor, talk to myself, and we're going to do a market analysis, see if you're even close to short sale, see where we're at with everything. We're confidential. We're not going to go tell anyone or anything about it. We're kind of like your attorney. We have to keep that confidentiality. So I don't want anyone to ever feel embarrassed to call me and talk to me about it. We're going to see where you're at with everything. And then we're going to market the property just like we normally would. But we're going to have to disclose that it is a short sale. We start talking to the bank, finding out what they need. Most of the time it's paperwork and then like a hardship letter establishing that they did in fact have some sort of hardship. And then once we get an offer, then we bring that to the bank and there's even more paperwork for the seller side. Now for the buyer side, I get that question a lot. We're out and about looking at homes and it might come up like, oh, Mr. Smith, this is, my client, this is a short sale. And the buyers are always like, well, how does that affect me as a buyer? Well, really, as a buyer, your process is the same, but you need to be patient and we're negotiating with the bank and not just the seller. So that can take up to 6 months. I've had one last 12 months. We do our best to move fast, but with everything going on, a lot of the banks are working from home. The processors and the contacts are from home and it's just taking a really long time right now. But if you're patient as a buyer, you can get a really good deal too.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's when you're talking about the buying side, that's what I hear is that if you're in the market to be able to buy and you're on that other side, you truly can save yourself some cash in that process. It might just take a little bit longer. So I think that's good. Is there any downfall to purchasing a home that's been on short sale?
Well, the biggest downfall, of course, is the time. So you have to be flexible, depending on what your current living situation is. And the other downfall is that there could be some neglect. Obviously, if someone doesn't have the money to be paying their mortgage, they might not have replaced a roof or they might not have kept their HVAC updated, or there might be some wear and tear on their house that wasn't deferred maintenance, as we'll say.
Yeah, I think this is great. And I love the fact that you mentioned don't be embarrassed to talk to you about it, whether it's that you don't know if your credit is good enough or if you might have a short sale on your hands. or any of that, you're really open, you're confidential, and you'll help anyone through the process. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, Missy.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Here's how you can contact Missy Buttrum. Again, contact if you've got any questions on short sales or any other real estate selling or buying questions. There's no obligations for contacting her, no judgment. It's fully confidential. 262-227-7064. Email and website, myteambliss.com.